Hey everyone, Jeremy here. It is Friday night and we're going to create some art. It's going to be awesome. So it is Friday. It's not my usual day. My usual day is Thursdays, but since I had to do a live stream on Wednesday, I thought it'd be kind of weird to do it back to back. So instead, you get a Friday live stream, which is cool though because this is Easter weekend. So I'm going to do an Easter bunny. I think that'll be kind of cool. I've done a couple of bunnies. I don't think I've ever done a bunny that in color before. So I think this is going to be a treat. This is going to be my kind of pastel watercolor style. So I think this bunny's going to turn out at least cute. It's going to look cute. Full disclosure, I've had a bunny of my own in the past, passed away this past year. So I might get a little sentimental about that, but this bunny is inspired by that bunny. So I'm just going to jump right in if that's cool. Got a couple, well, at least one person in the room that's enough for a party. We got Kinsley loves puppies, which is awesome. Yeah, I think Kinsley might like this one just because it's going to be a cute bunny. Kinsley likes puppies. This is basically like not quite a puppy, but anyway. It is like my off night, so I probably not going to get the same people in here, but that's okay. Maybe people will like stagger in over time. But just to explain the process a little bit, I do start with like watercolor, and then I come back over it with pastel. So I've already got the watercolor down here. I also this is watercolor paper. I also add like a coat of clear gesso to it, which gives it like a texture that can then work with pastels. And then I've got a couple pastel pencils here. I've got a couple pastel sticks, and that's all there is to the prep work. Just your normal watercolor paper. Normal pastels, pencils and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna jump right in. Yeah, even Geppetto's a bunny. I thought I'd dress him up. A little bit of bunny cosplay. Yeah. I don't usually do much for Easter myself, but my nieces and nephews do. So this is kind of I might give this picture to my one of my nieces, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, if it turns out ugly, I'm not gonna keep it. But so I'm gonna start with like getting his little mouth in here, just so that I know where it is. Yeah, kids in the room, cool. Um, yeah, I decided to decorate Geppetto a little bit. Um, I don't think I've done things like that in the past. So I've tried to do different Easter streams before. I think it was last year, maybe the year before. It just went really bad. I was trying to decorate like I was trying to decorate some eggs with watercolor paint, and that just didn't work. I think in hindsight, there is a way to make watercolor work on eggs. It's just I was not doing it right. I think you have to use some watercolor ground, but maybe I'll try that next year. This year we're just drawing a bunny. It's gonna be a cute bunny. Got all the pastel colors. He's all done up for Easter. So how are you guys doing this start of a weekend? It's going to be great. Any Easter plans? I don't think everybody celebrates Easter, and that's all right. I don't really do much myself, but it is Easter weekend, so that's cool. I think I've got another video that I've got to put together this week as well. Um, the Land Rover Kentucky 3-day event, which is a horse competition, is coming up this weekend. I've got some video footage from last year's that I never bothered to put together into a video, so I think I'm going to tackle that this weekend, just so that I can have that out there. So the other thing I'm trying to do, so I do have like a black pencil, but I'm trying to avoid black. I'm just going to use all like dark blues and things like that on this picture, just to break out my comfort zone. Afraid of eggs now. Thought they were good. I'm afraid of decorating eggs. I'm afraid of how I went about decorating eggs. It went terribly. Um, Also, I think the other problem is I wanted to do multiple eggs at one time, so I think that I am going to use a little bit of black now. That I'm going to backtrack on that. Um, I wanted to do multiple eggs at one time, so I think that kind of like kicked my butt too because I wasn't able to like make any of them as nice as I really wanted. But also, I had no idea that there was this thing called watercolor ground. This is my inexperience with the medium. Um, I remember when I did coffee paintings on the bourbon bottles. some of the other artists who was also doing bourbon bottles asked me what kind of ground I was using. I didn't know what they were talking about. Apparently, watercolor ground allows you to like have a water paper kind of texture on basically any surface. Like you can do watercolor on wood, you can do watercolor on I don't know walls. I don't know wherever you want to do water. Bourbon bottles, as I was doing. Wherever you want to do watercolor, you can do it with that watercolor ground. So I don't have any watercolor ground, or else I would try that just to see if it works on eggs, but maybe next year. I don't have it. This is going to be an adorable bunny, I think. Get some nice reflections in his eye. I like to start off with the eyes often because like then you have something to kind of look at while I'm doing the rest of the picture. So we're gonna get a nice eye in here for you guys to look at while I do the rest of the picture. Hey Rome, how's it going? Hey Warhorse. Again, sorry about your buddy that passed away. I am going to do a picture of for you next week. Hopefully, if you guys can give me a like a reference picture. I kind of have it in mind. I think you wanted like a pyrography kind of picture so you can use it as a memorial. I'm totally down for that. I think that'd be really cool. So expect that next week. The other thing I want to do. I was talking to my buddy. Like this has nothing to do with anything. This definitely doesn't have anything to do with Easter or pet memorials or anything like that. I was talking to my buddy about his Kurt Russell podcast, and he was saying, yeah, we got a certain amount of people who watch. Like it's not as many people as we want it to be and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, how many people did you get when I did the Kurt Russell picture for Christmas? And he's like, I have no idea. And I'm like, well, can you figure it out and stuff? I want to see what the Jeremy bump is, right? So um, in my mind, his podcast, his Kurt Russell podcast, got more listeners because I was talking about it around Christmas time when I was drawing Kurt Russell as Santa Claus. So he said he couldn't figure that out, but we devised a test. Next week, I'm going to do a picture of Kurt Russell, and I'm going to link to his podcast, one of the old podcast episodes that people haven't listened to in a while. That way, he can kind of measure the traffic and see how many people show up just because I'm talking about Kurt Russell. So we're going to do that next week. I think it's going to be fun. Um, it's just kind of like to get an idea of like, I don't know, can I get more people listening to his podcast because I think that would be kind of cool. He is my buddy. It is a fun podcast. If you like Kurt Russell, it's very cool. Um, so we're gonna try that next week. I don't I don't know what picture of Kurt Russell I'm going to do, but I think Kurt Russell's an interesting looking guy. I'm sure any portrait of Kurt Russell will look cool. We'll see. Um, I was watching my favorite show before this. Now I'm watching my favorite YouTuber. Thanks, Kinley. That's awesome. Grey's Anatomy. That show has been on forever. I remember watching. I mean, I never really watched it, but I think everybody watched it at one point. Like I don't know, almost like 20 years ago. I feel like it's been around for a while. I watched it back when Meredith was still on it. I have no idea what it's about now. I'm sure it's sure it's still cool. I think this guy's gonna look cute. I'm going for like realism on this, or to a degree. I don't want it to like I thought about doing like an illustrated kind of bunny. Um, I thought about a couple of different routes, and I think as long as I got the right colors and stuff, I think it'll be like a cool Easter bunny no matter how I do. So I'm gonna go with realism just because like that's my thing. Jeremy, those already super cute. Oh, nice. Not sure Japan, but I was happy about the nose. Yeah, it didn't really. That's a Q-tip head. I was like trying to give him a little cotton nose and stuff. I don't think that is my best work. It kind of looks like he's wearing a mask or like somebody's got like a sock stuck in his mouth or something like that. He does, I agree. He doesn't look happy. So I end up with all these pencils in my hand. It's weird. Every time I pick up a pencil, I don't put it back down. I don't know why. So I'm going with a bunch of different colors. Basically, it's going to be kind of blue, purple, and pink. So like I think those are cool Easter colors for this bunny. And they're all cool colors. So like I don't know if I'm going to introduce some warmth into this later. Yeah, wow, wow. So 20 years. It's been 20 years. That's crazy. I know that what's her name? Catherine Hagel used to be on it, and like you never hear anything from her anymore. She had a I think she had a meltdown, but she had a promising movie career that just kind of flopped. Um, and then, Patrick Dempsey's everybody's heartthrob. He was on there back in the day. I think I think basically they killed everybody off. And you know, oh, I guess I should probably say spoiler alert in case like you're into the first season or something like that. But yeah, the mortality rate on that show was fairly high. I don't know what kind of rabbit this is. The I mentioned at the start of the show that I had a bunny that I want to say passed away last year, maybe over the winter. I'm pretty sure it was last year. I don't remember exactly, but cutest little guy. I had him for like 10 years. In fact, his cage is still up in the backyard. I haven't taken it down yet. And he was a cute little guy. He was a little dwarf bunny. I think I showed pictures of him. I think I've drawn a drawing of him. I don't think I've done any color drawings of any rabbit. So this is kind of a first for that front. Because it's like, wow, it started before I was born. Yeah, that show's been on for a while. Um, it's a pretty good show though. Like it probably, if you're familiar with the term "jump the shark," it probably jumped the shark a while back, but I'm sure it's still fun. But yeah, that's been around for a while. There's a lot of good shows though that kid asks, are you going to get another bunny, Jeremy? Maybe. I love bunnies. What I loved about the bunny is he just did cute things. He kind of took care of himself. So like if you think cats are kind of like self-maintenance, like you give them a litter box, you give them food and stuff, they're happy. Bunnies are like super super like low maintenance. They just want to be petted every now and then. They want food, and they want shelter, and that's it. So I think like yeah, I mean I'm open to getting another bunny. I don't know where I would get a bunny now. My parents used to raise bunnies, and that's how I ended up with this one, but they don't do that anymore. So I guess I don't know where I would get another dwarf bunny. Because that's what was so cute about him. He never grew up. He always looked like a little bunny instead of like an adult bunny. So if I can get another dwarf bunny, I think that would be cool. That would be ideal for me. But yeah, I'm kind of scared of bunnies, but I like them the same. Oh, there's nothing to be scared of. All they do is hop around and be cute. Um, you can actually train them to be indoor and use like litter and stuff like that, like a cat. So like they can actually be indoor animals. Like they eat everything, so you'd have to kind of like figure that out a little bit. But yeah, I have a friend who had some bunnies around the house, and she loved it. She said that they were like cats. So I don't know. I'd be open to it. I would definitely want like another dwarf bunny though. Like that's my thing. But yeah, Grey's Anatomy, I'm sure it holds up. There's a couple of shows that even though they came out like a long time ago, they still hold up. Like The Office. You could watch The Office today, and it would still just be it would be as relevant as it ever was. There's probably a couple of other shows that are like that. I go back and I watch shows from the early 2010s just because I like them. Like I go back and I watch Mad Men a lot, just because I like advertising. I like. I mean, it was just a good show too. I thought Donald Draper was cool. Um, that was kind of my thing. But I watch like Mad Men and all like I watch it over and over again. Sometimes just as like background noise. I like Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad's not for everybody, but I enjoyed it, so I go back and I watch that. Um, Trying to think of other. Seems like AMC had a lot of good shows back in the day. I don't know what they're up to now. I haven't really watched AMC in a while, but back in the day, they had all the good shows. They have an Interview with the Vampire. I've always been like an Anne Rice fan, and I like their interpretation of Interview with the Vampire. I haven't seen the second season yet, but the first season was really good. I really enjoyed it. I thought it would be kind of weird, some of the updates that they made, like like in the original, like I don't know, it used to be part of pop culture back in the '90s, but I don't know if people are still into like Anne Rice's vampires and stuff. But maybe you recall, like Brad Pitt played Louis in the TV version. I mean, sorry, the movie version with Tom Cruise. Um, so in the book, Louis was a like a plantation owner, and they made some updates for AMC that I wasn't sure that I would like. Like they made it like I don't know when it was set, but I think it was set a couple of decades after the version from the book, and they made Louis like a kind of like a gangster in a way. I don't know what the right term would be, but he wasn't a plantation owner for sure. Um, so I wasn't sure about those kind of updates. But the story. Oh, and Claudia was a little bit older. Like in the book, she was like 6 years old or something like that. It's kind of hard to do that in real life, just because that's such a young age for an actor. So I approved of like aging her up a little bit. And all in all, I like the AMC version. I think it's really good. It's not exactly like the book, or the book series, but it's true to the spirit of it. Oh, the kid says they love the movie. Yeah, the movie was great. Um, but I love the books. Like Anne Rice is a phenomenal writer. She passed away. She's not around anymore, but um, she is a phenomenal writer. All of her books are so thick with descriptions and like detail and stuff. It's so much like obviously she wrote a lot about New Orleans. I fell in love with New Orleans just from reading her books, just the way she describes that place. I thought, man, that seems like an awesome place to visit. Um, which I haven't yet, but it's on my list. But yeah, Anne Rice is one of my all-time favorite authors and stuff. Some of her later books and stuff kind of felt a little lazy, in my opinion. Like her best work is probably in the mid '90s. That's when her heyday was, I think, and she was really good about that. Kinsley says my audio keeps glitching. Hopefully, it's not on my end. Sorry. I mean, it might be on my end, and if so, I do apologize. Oh, the bunny's adorable. Yeah, I think it's gonna be cute when it's all done. I like switching back and forth on the colors. Again, no bunny looks like this in real life, even a white bunny. I mean, I'm taking some artistic liberty here to make it an Easter bunny, but that's what I promised. I promised an Easter bunny tonight. But yeah, Anne Rice is a phenomenal author. I love her stuff. Like I said, such atmosphere in her books, and I really love the stories themselves. So like, believe it or not, my favorite series wasn't even the vampire series. I liked The Witching Hour. Now, the other books in that series weren't that great, in my opinion, but the first book was, I mean, it's on the thick side. I think it's like 1,000 pages or something. It's like really thick. But that's this like this line of witches that like from I don't know, like the 1600s on up to present day and stuff, where like they genetically pass down powers and stuff to like their children and stuff like that. I mean, it's a great story. I loved it, and then like it's all for a purpose. I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's all for a purpose, and I just love that story there. It's really good. In my opinion, that's Anne Rice's best work. Like, forget about all the vampire series. She also did some werewolf books, and she was on a Christianity kick where she was doing like stories about angels and things like that. Those are all great too. But her Witching Hour book, that's her best book in my opinion. Of course, the other ones in that series they weren't as great, but that first one was really good in my opinion. But anyway, if a bunny looked like that, give me that bunny. Yeah, I'm gonna call it a she. This bunny is she looks like a she. But yeah, I would love to have this bunny. She looks like cotton candy to me. In fact, I don't even want to do the rest of the bunny. I just like the face sticking out of this cotton candy almost. Like, if I wasn't trying to have an excuse to chat with you guys all tonight, I would call it quits right here and just say, okay, I'm done, because I think it looks kind of cool. But nah, we're not done. We're gonna hang out for a bit. But I like how I'm switching between the blues and the pinks and so on. But yeah, Anne Rice is good. I love AMC's Anne Rice. I used to be into Walking Dead back in the day, but man, I feel like that's just on too long. I mean, that's been around forever too. First couple of seasons, I was totally into it. I'm not gonna spoil it and say like who all died and stuff, but there was like one season in particular where some of the deaths were like brutal and unnecessary, and I felt like they were just for ratings, and that's when I started kind of losing interest. Um, Still a great concept for a show, but I felt like it got a little repetitive, and I love the comic, like the graphic novel Walking Dead. I love the concept of the show and stuff, and I'm glad that they were able to like go on so long, and like they even have like spinoffs going on now, I think. But I don't know. I lost interest some years back. Like I said, it's been going on forever. But yeah, all that's on AMC. AMC used to have the best shows. There was a while where HBO had all the best shows, and then I felt like AMC came along and had some good ones. *Halt and Catch Fire*. I don't know if anybody ever watched that. Um, I felt like that was kind of a little bit pretentious. Like they had Oscar-winning actors from it. They had Lee Pace. Lee Pace is a phenomenal actor, and they had the husband and wife were, I forget their names, but they were in that movie Argo with Ben Affleck and stuff. Won Oscars for that, and they were phenomenal actors too. And I felt like the show itself was just a little bit pretentious and kind of like, you know, kind of was like too full of itself to tell a good story. I felt like the last season maybe kind of made up for that, but it struggled a bit. I think they wanted to be like a period piece like Mad Men or something like that and tell the story of tech, which I'm into. But I feel like they kind of missed the mark a little bit. But I still watch it. I still enjoyed it. It's worth watching if you can get past the pretentiousness of it. If it's a girl bunny, you got to give her some eyelashes. There's gonna be some like I mean, there's gonna be whiskers and stuff in here. I think she's got a cute face so far, though. So you want her to look like what it was it Babs? Babs Bunny from like Looney Tunes. I think that's her name. Bugs Bunny's girlfriend, maybe. Yeah. All those years that I had a bunny, I have no idea if it was a boy or a girl. I have no idea. I don't know. Like, somebody smarter than me, like a vet maybe or something, could have figured that out, but I never bothered to. Like, I never did any tests on it, but I think I might have mentioned that I named it Test Subject B. So it didn't really matter if it was a boy or a girl with that name. Test Subject A is another bunny that I had that didn't last very long. It's not like I was doing tests on him either, but like I thought that was a funny name because I told all my friends I was going to do all these science experiments on him, which I never did. But I named him Test Subject A. So when he passed away and I got a new bunny, Like I only had him for like a year or two. He didn't last very long. Um, so like there was no like real attachment to that bunny. But anyway, after he passed away, I'm like, well, the other one was test subject A. I guess we'll call this one test subject B, and it just stuck. And I had that bunny for like 10 years. I was surprised it lasted so long. I didn't know bunnies lived that long. Um, but yeah, so always called her her or him test subject B. And sometimes, I'd go up to like the cage to feed him or her, and I just call her Mr. Bunny. So I guess I kind of thought of it as a boy, but I really don't know. Mr. Bunny, test subject B was its official name. Like if I ever did take it to the vet, which I never did. I mean, like I said, bunnies are self-sustainable. Like this one, it never got sick. It never needed anything. Um, Lived a long life. Just ate rabbit pellets. Just did its own thing, just bouncing around, being happy. Best animal I ever had as far as like just self maintaining. But yeah, officially it was named Test Subject B, but I called it Mr. Bunny. Hey, Mr. Bunny. He's adorable. I think I mentioned that he was like a little dwarf bunny with like the floppy ears and all that stuff. Never, never got that big at all. Hey, Lorraine, how's it going? Hilarious name. Yeah. I mean, it's a true story. Like I tell people that story and they think I'm joking. No, it was really test subject B. The first bunny, uh, technically, I kind of did some experiments on the first bunny inadvertently. So my dad used to smoke, and he would come over to my house, and he would smoke his cigarettes outside. Like I didn't want any smoking in my house, but he would smoke his cigarettes outside. And so I had some ashtrays out there and stuff. So when I got the bunny, I was looking for something to use for food and water and stuff. So I used the ashtray. Like I dumped all the ashes out and stuff. But I always joked that there was probably some residual nicotine in there. So I was testing nicotine withdrawal on my bunnies, and it's just a joke. I mean, I would never harm. I would never intentionally harm any animal because, especially like a pet, um, just because like I mean it's too cute to like do actual experiments on. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think in my mind I thought I might do some soft experiments, like little social experiments with the bunny or something, like introduce them to the cats and dogs and stuff and just see how they interact. I don't know. I have no idea. I never did anything. Cute bunny. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks, Lorraine. Um, Got Huli in the house. Nice. It's always nice to see Huli. Huli is a fan of the show from way back. She pops in every now and then, but it's always a treat. I like Huli. Um, some of you guys have been around since the beginning, like 2023 is when I started this show. Um, it's like awesome, like almost like members of the family at this point. But yeah, you guys have probably been around long enough to see me progress. I mean, I'm still not where I want to be, but I mean, you guys know, like my previous stuff was not as good as my current stuff. Not saying that my current stuff is all that; it's just better. I think I deleted all those old videos. Um, like he's not in here tonight, Richard. Richard, if you watch this later, hey, how's it going? Um, Richard was watching my very first episode back in 20 January something another 2023. Um, I was drawing Sherlock Holmes just because like Sherlock Holmes had entered the public domain at that point, and I was drawing Sherlock Holmes just for the fun of it, just because I've always been a fan of Sherlock Holmes, and I did a picture that wasn't all that great, and Richard wanted it anyway. And I asked him like, why do you want that stupid picture? And he's like, well, he might blow up and be famous someday. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. So I definitely sent that to him, and with all my appreciation and stuff. But now I'm thinking like I would like to draw Sherlock Holmes again just to see if I can make improvement. upon it. I'm still not great at doing portraits. Like that's not my thing that I excel at. I think I do better with animals. Um, but you know, every now and then I like to try drawing people just to see if I can pull it off. Hey, whose birthday is it? Hey, Lorraine, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. Congrats. I am 21 in my mind. Nice. Um, well, you know, like every time somebody has a birthday on this show and stuff, I promise the picture to them. So this one's yours if you want it, Lorraine, or if there's some other picture that I did that you liked, just let me know. And it's my gift to you for your birthday. So I would love to give you a birthday gift. If I mean, it doesn't have to be this picture. It could be any picture, really. It can be a picture later and stuff. Just remind me that you had a birthday. Everybody does, but remind me, and I would be happy to send you something cool. We like birthdays on this show. You know, some people get as they get older, they stop caring about their birthdays. I think that's natural, but like I think that people should still care. You know, you owe it to yourself to kind of like celebrate your life. You know, even if you're like, well, you know, I'm older than dirt or something. And you know, life's not fun and games anymore. I mean, I get it and everything, but you should still honor that you made another trip around the sun. So happy birthday. I'm 12 with 3 decades of experience. I like it. Start counting my age in dog years. I'm old enough. There you go. I'm old enough for most things, not too old to care. That sounded better in my head. All right, I'm pretty happy with this face so far. This is looking pretty good. Need to move into like a little bit of the body. Again, I want to kind of keep it a little bit cotton candy. I want to keep it like nice and soft and like cloudy and stuff. So I'm not going to go too far into it, but I do want to. Let's see. I think I'll start with this just to kind of. You know, I haven't even touched my stick pastels yet. I think I'll just do most of this in pencil. He's got such a small shape, you know. But yeah, I'll always love my birthday. Yay! My dog just randomly sniffed me and walked away like nothing happened. That's cute. So, you know, those of you who've been around for a while, you kind of see the technique. Basically, you lay down some pastel and then you kind of blend it in um, for the most part to kind of like make it look like it's natural with the watercolor background, right? So like I just softened that up like super soft. That's what's so great about using pastels. They are super blendable like that, and you can get some really nice soft effects. But then once you have that in there, once you have that like little soft, cloudy mixture, then you can kind of come back over it with some details and some hard lines. So it's you can probably do this with colored pencils as well. So like I mentioned that before. And I think I have done this with colored pencils just as a demonstration. I don't remember what picture, but you know, it's kind of a I'm you know, even though you can do this with colored pencils, I'm still so much of a fan of like doing it with pastels. I know that not everybody uses pastels and stuff. Some people aren't even aware of pastels, which is sad to me, because so many people use markers and colored pencils and stuff, especially here on YouTube. Um, I feel like pastels might be like a lost medium. Like people, I, I hesitate to say that like it's a medium that's like dying or anything because it's not. I mean, people still use it, especially like professional artists and like you know fine artists and stuff that uh, that go to school or like work, art shows, things like that. Um, Pastels are very much a living thing there. It's just I feel like on YouTube, like a lot of people use maybe it's just the stuff that shows up in my feed, but I feel like a lot of people use like colored pencils and markers and stuff like that, and they probably aren't aware of all the nice benefits you get out of these soft pastels. They're soft pastels because they're like soft, right? Like there's pigment in there, but the medium itself is soft. So like when you go over a textured surface, it kind of you know becomes like sand on the paper. But they're also like they create soft effects. So like even though that's not the reason why they're named soft pastels, it is a feature of theirs that I really like. So you get that soft kind of cloudy background, and then you can kind of come over it with like some detailed lines that you don't blur out, and then you get that nice little like layer um, of detail. So like you get some marks over the softness. You guys have probably seen my pictures that I post on the community tab, like blown up and stuff like that, where you can see these marks over the clouds per se, and it's just cool effects. It's really good for doing animals and fur and stuff like that. And like sometimes people's skin, um, the details of the face if you're doing a portrait or something like that. Those are all finely done with pastels as well. But I don't know. I think it looks really cool in this case where we're creating a little soft Easter bunny. So I don't. So I go back and I blur a little bit. I don't want to blur too much. I want to leave some of that detail there, but I do kind of want to blur the ends out and stuff. So they all kind of like just kind of melts together, I guess. I wish I was good enough at art to do this bunny. I'd make thousands of these bunnies if I was good at it. Well, the thing about bunnies is they make thousands of each other. So, Kinsley, like I don't know what your art level is now, but you're probably stressing it too much. Like it is all practice. Like you don't just wake up one day able to draw a bunny. You have to like you have to start with like a little stick figure bunny, and then a little cartoon bunny, and then like kind of eventually move into like a pencil like graphite bunny, and then you start thinking like, well, what would a bunny look like in color, and then you start worrying about this kind of stuff. It's like baby steps, and like, each step you build upon. Like I talk about how I've been on here since 2023 doing all these different pictures. I've intentionally or not, I kind of had these stepping stones that I set up for myself to become better at things. Like I would practice things that I felt like I was lacking in. So a lot of my early pictures weren't in color. They were all monotone, either charcoal or eventually I started doing coffee paintings. Um, there's a reason why is because I wasn't ready for color yet. I was more like, how do I get in these highlights? How do I get in these shadows? So like if you look at a person, right? Like if you're looking at me in the screen, this side of my face is cast in dark. This side over here is like really highlighted because of like how the lights are in here. Um, that kind of stuff you have to be able to translate to your drawings and stuff. That is something you could spend months and years on just by itself. It's called value studies, right? So like you're doing work that is just meant to capture the lights and shadows. It's not even meant to capture color or anything like that. You can draw a circle and work on that kind of stuff, like a sphere. So like this kneadable eraser, right? So you can start with just like a circle like that, and then you start working the shadows and you work the highlights and stuff like that. And then when you get good at the sphere, guess what? The sphere is basically the bunny's face. It's more complicated than that, but that's how you kind of build up your skills and stuff. You start with like a little circle, and you get good at drawing the circle and stuff, and then you move up to drawing a bunny. Because like I even mentioned before, and like you'll see a lot of art, demonstrations where they talk about this. Basically, this face is just a series of like that's an oval, got like a little triangle going there. Like they're just shapes. So you get good at drawing shapes and stuff, and then you can draw a bunny. But you start with the shapes. You start with random shapes, you work them all together, and then over time, guess what? You're drawing bunnies and stuff. I didn't start off drawing bunnies. I started drawing for some reason Sherlock Holmes, and that was a major mistake. But I'm going to come back and revisit doing Sherlock Holmes just because I think that like I've done that before. Like I come back and I look at some of my drawings like of a dog, for example. Like I remember doing a, German Shepherd that didn't turn out right. Oh, sorry, a collie. I did a collie one time, like a Lassie kind of dog. Wasn't happy with it at all. So I revisited that, and then the second one that I did, I was actually pretty happy with. So that's all it is. You know, you do something you don't like, and you're like, hey, I can do better than that, and then you just kind of keep challenging yourself. But then, like when it does come time for color, again, it's just experimenting. Like I've done a couple of these pictures now where I use like pinks and blues and stuff, and they all work together, and I just kind of combine them together to see what they look like. And because I've done those pictures before, I'm like, hey, I can do a bunny in these kind of colors. So, you get like you get a feel for this, but it's only after you've done a bunch of them. That's all it is. Leonardo da Vinci was a great artist, but guess what? He was a madman. He just did a bunch of work. He just kept drawing and drawing and drawing all throughout his life. That's how he got good. That's a beautiful pick for a child's room. Thanks, Julie. I appreciate that. Lorraine has first dibs on this because it's her birthday, but if she doesn't want it, I'm gonna pass it along to my niece probably for her bedroom if she wants it. I don't know. She's like 4 years old. I don't know what she wants. It's amazing to me that my niece from my younger brother is 4 years old. Like, where did that time go? I don't even know. Then I have a niece from my older brother who has her own kids. One of them are 4 years old, so it's like weird. It's weird, like the generations in the Purnell family. Because even though my older brother is just over 50 years old, he's still out there creating kids. He's not done. And then my younger brother just recently had a kid, like I said, 4 years ago, and he's pushing. He's getting older himself, so like he's no spring chicken either. Spring bunny. You'll also notice that like there's a lot of overlap in the kinds of pictures I do. Like there's a reason. I mean, I do these pictures, and I intentionally I want them to kind of look similar, so I try to do them all the same way. But it is where wherever I want somebody to look at, I put a lot of detail in there, and then as I move further away, I get more abstract with it. Um, so that's another little tip is you know draw small shapes. I guess if you're like trying to learn to draw or something like that, don't worry about drawing a bunny. Draw a bunny's eye, and then you can build out like the impression of a bunny from that. Um, you don't have to draw an entire bunny to be able to tell somebody, hey, look, this is the bunny here. Let's see. I want to use not too much of this, but no, that's way too bright. We go with this like kind of grayish color over here. Let's kind of fill in some of this area back here on the butt, or her butt, I guess. Again, you make it really soft. You just kind of blend all this stuff in, and then if you want to, if it becomes too soft and it's too blended out and stuff, then you kind of come in and you start adding some detail over that. Kind of blend some of that out. But yeah, I mean, it's just trial and error and stuff. You get better at it over time. And like one day you draw a bunny and you're happy with it, and the next day you draw a bunny and you're not happy with it. You know, I've done several pictures that I'm not happy with. You know, recently, it's not like you ever get over that. You're always creating bad pictures. Um, the I think the important thing is that over time you start doing less bad work. It's not like you don't do bad work. It's just less of it. Um, there's a true. Let's see. I did that method on my last piece. I like the process and the end result. It was a time saver. Look good with the transition from unfinished to finished. Great technique, Jeremy. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, I should say some of these things that I do are because, you know, limited amount of time when you're doing a live stream. I try to keep these things under 2 hours. I really try to keep them like more towards the hour and a half mark. Um, so a lot of these things are because, you know, I can get them done in a certain amount of time. Maybe if I had 6 hours to work on a bunny picture, I might be doing colored pencils and like, you know, building up layers and stuff like that. It's like some other artists do. But truth of it is, once I put the hour and a half into this, I don't ever want to touch this bunny again. Um, I want to be able to get them done in a reasonable amount of time. And I have no interest in revisiting this bunny later. When I'm done with this bunny, I just want to consider it done. I don't want to spend 6 hours doing this bunny. Now, some people are into that, you know, and more power to them. I don't have the patience for it. There's a couple of artists that I follow here on YouTube. They do spend like 6 hours on a picture and stuff like that. That's not me. I like this style of art because like you can get it done in a reasonable amount of time. And I want to get better and faster at this. To be honest, this right here still takes too long. I want to be able to sit down and crank something out in like 20 minutes or less. You know. And I've tried a couple of picture styles like that, and I'm not too happy with them. Like I've done scribble art and stuff. That goes pretty quick. I can get it. I can get a scribble art portrait done in maybe like 20 minutes or something like that. But it's not the style that I really like. It's not anything I'm proud of. Introducing some warm colors. I don't know if you noticed that or not. So like I don't want to go too cool on any kind of nature picture. So colors that work really well together is the blues, the purples, the pinks, and then you have some sort of orange that works really well with these things. Now maybe I might use in some cases like some greens, um, but even greens feel too cool. I don't know. Like I'm not that much of an expert on color theory. I don't know, but I do know that the yellows kind of work well with these other colors and stuff. I think they look cool. Did Jeremy just freeze? If I did, I'm sorry. Sometimes my internet goes out. Sorry about that. So if I'm back, I'm back. Great. Sorry. You know, like this is a this is a Kentucky production, and we are not we are not all that tech savvy here in Kentucky. So like yeah, we barely have internet. But yeah, if I go out, I am sorry. Like hopefully whenever I freeze on some like weird face like or something like that. That would be great. Because like I love watching other people when they do freeze and they always have these goofy faces. So I feel like I deserve that too. If I do freeze, that would be funny. Hey, we got Billy Shaw in the house. Nice. Yeah, whiskey is more important than the internet for sure. Yeah, I'm always drinking bourbon on the show. Not always. I mean, I have drunk wine in the past and maybe a beer or two, but I enjoy bourbon and drawing. Like if I ever wrote a book on art, that's what it would be titled, I think. Bourbon and art. Something like that. But yeah, Billy is a great musician. So I, if they just, I think if they you just like search on Spotify for Billy Shaw. I don't know. I I don't think you had a band, did you? Maybe I don't know. You might have to like go digging a little bit deeper, but um, I think if you just search for Billy Shaw on Spotify, you'll find him. He's a great country, maybe some blues singing. I don't know, but it's worth checking out. Absolutely worth it. But yeah, and back to Spotify. Like I said, I my buddy that does the Kurt Russell podcast and stuff. Next week, I'm going to do a picture of Kurt Russell. I don't know which version of him and stuff, but I am going to do a picture of Kurt Russell along with the invitation to come and check out his podcast because I really want to see how many people I can send to his podcast because like I don't know he loves doing the podcast but I think he's a little um, disappointed with the number of people who listen. And I'm like, man, we can get that. Those are rookie numbers. We can get those numbers higher. So that I'm going to make an effort just as a joke next week to see how high I can get that Jeremy bump because like that's the joke. Like the joke is like, hey man, I'm a big time influencer on like YouTube and stuff, man. If you want some promotion for your podcast, I'll help you out. Of course, that's all a joke, but it'll still be kind of funny if I send them like 5 people. That would be funny. We would have a laugh over that. But I mean, it's actually worth listening to. It's there are some interesting factoids about Kurt Russell that I didn't know. Like the guy has been around forever. I mean, he used to do like Disney shows as a kid, Disney movies and stuff like. So he's got a huge body of movies to draw from and stuff, and like all kinds of fascinating. And he's the nicest guy apparently. Like you know, he's just a really nice guy in Hollywood, which is kind of rare these days. So I'm a fan of Kurt Russell. You know, if you're not, that's fine. Just go and check out the podcast next week, not tonight. Go and check out the podcast next week, just so that you know we send them some numbers and stuff, and we can call it the Jeremy bump. I'm liking this bunny. So that's a foot, in case you couldn't tell, and still working on the foot, but it's I've done a couple bunnies before. I've never done one in color, I don't think. Or if I've done color, it's more like a wild bunny where it's like browns and stuff like that. Oh, there you go. Lorraine knows what I'm talking about. Kurt Russell he is literally the man. Like, honestly, and he's such a range of different characters he's done over the years and stuff. Um, I remember my mom really loved Kurt Russell, like back in the day. My mom's like an 80s lady. So like Tango and Cash and stuff, like that was my mom's thing. Um, but yeah, Kurt Russell is the man. And it's just amazing that like, he's been around for a while and he's still like just cranking out bangers. Um, and again, like I said, he's just a super nice guy. So I like to I like to look up to Hollywood people who are worth looking up to. And I don't really pay attention to the other ones. So I'm not very good with feet and stuff, so I'm just gonna kind of like give an impression of like feet here, like little furry feet and stuff, and not like spend a lot. I mean, really, there's not like a lot of definition to rabbits' feet anyway. They're just balls of fur. So I'm going to kind of like gloss over it and just kind of create like these like little areas of fur down here. Yeah, Captain Ron is a classic. What was that movie? Overboard. Quality stuff. Oh, Escape from New York. Yeah. Snake. Was it Snake? Pincer? I don't know. Something like that. Yeah, that's a good one. Um, I don't think I ever saw the sequel, like Escape from LA, but Escape from New York, definite classic. I think at that point is when he started wanting to kind of like reshape his image from like being a child actor for Disney. Because he used to do like the Dexter movies and things like not Dexter as in like the serial killer from nowadays, but yeah, I don't know. They're Disney movies. I feel like I want to go back and watch some of these things. Like they've got all of those old '60s movies and stuff from in '60s and '70s movies on like Disney that I kind of grew up with watching like the Disney Sunday night movies. I remember that being a thing when I was a little kid. We'd all pile into the living room and watch those. Um, I kind of want to go back and watch some of those now as an adult and see if I still like them, like the Apple Dumpling Gang with Don Knotts, things like that. I remember watching those things when I was a kid, and I remember them being fun. I don't remember why I liked them, but now I'd like to go back as an adult and be like, do I really like this, or was that like just, or was I just like into anything as a kid? I don't know. But some things do hold up. Like I go back and I watch things that like arguably I could like you know really struggle with watching them as an adult. But they still hold up. Like Goonies. Goonies is still really, really good. You can watch Goonies, even though it's like an '80s movie. You can watch Goonies now and still appreciate it. I mean, obviously, like you know, if you have a certain age nowadays, you probably be like, "Oh, that's weird that people lived like that back then." But you know, um, it still holds up in my opinion. What are some other '80s movies that kind of hold up? Back to the Future. You can watch that now. That's fine. I don't know. There's reasons to go back and watch these things. I think is what I'm getting at. It's worth it, so I'm gonna do it. Truffle Shuffle. Yeah. First, you gotta do the Truffle Shuffle. That kid turned out to be like a normal adult. He looks like a normal dude. Chunk. And then the Data, one of my favorite characters. He's seen a resurgence in recent years after winning an Oscar for Everything Everywhere All at Once. So and he was in Loki as Ouroboros or whatever his name is. Anyway, I've always liked him. I liked him as Short Round in Temple of Doom. Phenomenal actor. I'm so glad he's getting work. Hey Larry, how's it going? You heard it here first. Jeremy is not a foot guy. I really don't know how to draw a foot. Yeah, sorry, you made that comment a while back. Um, yeah, I've never been very good at drawing hands or feet. Like that's one of those things. Like I was mentioning earlier and stuff about how you have to continually practice. I need to just sit down with like pen and paper and just draw a bunch of. It's kind of weird, but I just need to draw a bunch of feet and hands and things like that, and all the things you draw, all the things that you are uncomfortable doing, and then you get better at them. Like I mean, you can ask anybody. Like I've always made it a point on this show to go off and try to do the things that I don't feel very comfortable doing. So if I don't if I don't think I can draw a rabbit, for whatever reason, that's the thing I want to draw. I want to give it a shot. I want to see if I can pull it off. Which, you know, because like you only get better doing like you don't get any better doing the same things over and over again. So like if you're good at something, sure, keep doing it because that's what people expect, but also try to break out of that. You don't want to continue doing, oh, I shouldn't have ate that pizza. Oh, anyway, sorry. Um, oh, that pizza is not sitting well. Um, you don't want to always do the same thing that you've always done because then you're not progressing. I think it's important to challenge yourself and get outside of your comfort zone every now and then. Ooh, man, that does not taste good. Wash that down with some bourbon. Yeah, anyway, you guys didn't need to hear all that. I'm gonna give him like just a hint of a little fluffy tail back here, even though it's kind of hidden behind him. Yeah, so I like this guy. I think he's looking pretty good. What are we doing on time? Oh, we're only like an hour into this, so like I'm gonna try to get some definition in his neck through there. Yeah, you can't grow as an artist. Even musicians and stuff. Like I see musicians who I see both, right? So like you see musicians who have always done the same thing. They will always do the same thing. They're kind of locked in, especially like some of the people who are known for what they're known for. But then you see other artists who like every 5, 10 years or something just completely reinvent themselves. I'm not a huge Lady Gaga fan. I'm not like a huge pop music person, but Lady Gaga is a perfect example. And Madonna before her, and maybe some of these other artists and stuff. But they do not rest on their fame and fortune of like having done these things before. They are constantly reinventing themselves. Like Lady Gaga just put out a new album that is getting great reviews and stuff. That is so different than what she had been doing just a few years earlier. So she's always doing kind of like breaking the mold. I mean, she's not bad. When I say I'm not into like pop music, it's not that I don't like her or don't like her music or something like that. It's just not my style of music. My style of music is more like, indie rock. Um, it's starting to get even dated now, but indie rock from like the 2010s, that time period. The stuff that you would see in like independent movies or something like that. That's kind of my thing. Um, but in fact, I'm kind of like one of those counterculture people where I like listen to pop music and I'm like, I roll my eyes and stuff like that. But um, that said, I some of the stuff is good. And like, like Taylor Swift, for example, Taylor Swift is somebody who's like constantly reinventing themselves. Taylor Swift is like my was it guilty pleasure. So like I listen to Taylor Swift even though I'm like, man, I hate pop music. Pop music is not my thing and stuff. But then I'll listen to Taylor Swift and I'm like, oh, this is really good. So I don't know what it is. It is I guess I'm just a big old hypocrite. Yeah, haters are gonna hate, right? Um, but yeah, like I don't know. I think it goes across the spectrum of art. Depending on like art to me is this, art to me is music, art to me is just being creative, right? So like it's hard to be creative if you're doing the same thing over and over again. Now, you may be doing that because it's your job, there are professional artists out there who are expected to do the same thing all the time because that's what the people want and stuff. But I find a lot of respect with the people who can break out of that mold. So like even though people are demanding that they do like a particular song or a particular style of art or something like that, they find ways to like kind of break out of it and do their own progress as individual. And sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes they try something new and it just doesn't work out. And you know they have a reputation, and the reputation kind of gets a little sullied by that failure and stuff. But hey, more power to them. That they're that brave to be able to give it a try, because I think that's what's important. Like I mean, the whole point is, like I said, you're getting out of your comfort zone, so you're going to fail. So that's the thing. You fail like 1,000 times before you can create a bunny picture. Thanks, Larry. I appreciate that. Um, you make 500 bad bunnies before you get one good bunny, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm good at doing bunnies now, and then all of a sudden I'm going to change it up and I'm going to do mice or something, or something different. And it's like it's kind of counterintuitive because you spent all that time failing doing bunnies, and then the first time that you succeed at doing a bunny, you just stop doing bunnies. But that's the way it goes. That's the way I do it and stuff like that, because I'm constantly trying to like I mean, it's not that extreme. I'll still create bunnies even though I create a successful bunny. But it is true that after I've created a really nice bunny, I'm less inclined to do a nice bunny anymore. Um, I don't know. The one thing I always come back to is horses. Like I will always do horses. I don't care if I do a good horse or not. I will always come back to doing horses just because I really enjoy doing them. But yeah, I like the way this bunny looks, so I'm probably less likely to do more bunnies anytime new, like in the near future. I don't know. All right, so over here, I kind of want like a fluffy chest, but I don't want to lose the watercolor. Like I want the watercolor to kind of stand alone. But I do kind of want like just a soft little hint of a furry chest sticking out. Because especially during winter, these bunnies do get like really fluffy. I was gonna say this Buffy. I'm gonna call this bunny Buffy. Buffy the bunny. Kinsley loves the colors on this one. Nice. Well, it's supposed to be an Easter bunny, so I was hoping to get some nice cotton candy kind of colors in here, pastels, things like that. It's not just pastels, but it's actually like pastel colors are a thing. But I'm pretty happy with it. I do appreciate you guys hanging out with up in Cincinnati where I go to a lot. They have an art after dark at the museum. That's on Fridays. It always seems like art stuff is on Fridays. There you go. I like that channel a little bit better. So anyway, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on this Friday. I have a picture from 2008 or 2009 of me with the Easter bunny, and goodness, that bunny was freaky. Yeah, so like, I don't know. I don't know what's worse, clowns or like a really bad Easter bunny. Because like Easter bunnies are supposed to be cute, and for the most part, people who dress up in Easter bunny costumes, they are kind of it does look kind of cute, but also you can go the entire opposite direction. So like, there's a lot of movies about you know scary clowns. Well, there's just as many movies about scary rabbits. So yeah, it can go either way. All right, so this is gonna be a bit of a challenge. I need to get some whiskers in here, and it's basically I get one shot to make it right, like that. Like it's not like I can erase these whiskers. All right, kind of want them to. Yeah, all right, this is working. Need to get a couple of these in. Then I need to get bigger ones coming out of here. So you basically get like one swoop, or else like if you don't get it in that one swoop, you're kind of screwed. Because it's not like you can come back and erase these things. Now, technically you could. I mean, it is like pastel, you can lift that up, but it's not. It's going to leave a faint line. It's not going to be like great. And I used to like try to draw them. Like I used to like try to draw these things and make it perfect and stuff. You really have to just kind of swoosh it. And this is where you just have to have like some confidence, I guess, that it's going to be okay. There's no real reason you should have that confidence because it can go terrible. But anyway, they're not perfect, but I've gotten more used to doing these whiskers over time because like I do enough animals where dogs, cats, rabbits, they all have whiskers. And you really do just have to kind of just close your eyes and hope for the best. Because you like get that one little swish. There's some white ones in there too, but I can't draw those. Basically, I would have to come back with a colored pencil or something like that and get the whites in there. And the other thing is like once you get that in there, you can't come back and like kind of blend it out or anything like that. You can kind of blend the ends of it. Like here, I can kind of add a little bit to that one to make it kind of look like it works with the thing. Yeah, it looks pretty cute. Whiskers, nice. She wants her eyelashes done. All right, I will put in some eyelashes. Little subtle eyelashes. I don't want to go crazy with this. I don't want to anthropomorphize this bunny. It is supposed to be like a real bunny, but I will get some eyelashes in here for a kid. A little bit. Gonna curl it up a little bit like that. All right, those kind of look like eyelashes, but to me, I don't know. It's like, I want more eyelashes. Well, sorry. Know more about eyelashes than I should. My dog Moose casually watching TV like a human does. I like that. I like it when like sometimes I can get my dogs to watch TV that there's like here on YouTube there's TVs for pets and it's mostly like I don't know like squirrels eating nuts or like birds and stuff and things like that. My dogs love watching that kind of stuff. Sometimes I put that on just as background noise while I'm doing work on my computer or something like that, and my dogs just love it. It's usually like birds and squirrels and things like that. But it's like I think they call it like TV for dogs or TV for cats or something. But I'm always watching things like that. Like I watch like live streams of like New Orleans, French Quarter, New York Times Square, the beach out in California. I watch these things just as background noise while I'm doing stuff. And my pets like the same thing. All right. This is one of those times when I want to make sure that I don't overdo things. But also, since I have the time, I want to get, get all the marks in that I can. Yeah, kind of happy with that. All right. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're doing great on time. I'm probably going to wrap this up soon just because I'm running out of things. Um, and it is Easter, like might as well go and enjoy things. But I'm pretty happy with this. For some reason, the Cadbury commercial is stuck in my head. Like, thanks Easter Bunny. Like, I kind of want this rabbit to be like bark 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 bark, like I don't know what I'm saying, like a chicken, and then have some like Cadbury eggs or something come out back here. I need some eggs in this picture. That's what I need. But I'm not gonna do all that. It's just an Easter bunny. It's not a full-on Easter illustration. The focal point here is the bunny itself. All right, that looks good. Bunny is adorable. Thank you so much. Your wife talks to you about her lashes on the regular. That's amazing. That's funny. Well, I guess that's a thing. Some people are like really into lashes. I don't know. Try not to judge. Whatever people are into, that's what they're like. Hey, Guinness, what you staring at me for? Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with that. All right. So I think I am going to call this done just because, like, I don't want to overdo it. There's a fine line when doing abstract realism like this, which is what this style of art is. It's basically realism, especially in your focal point, like his face or her face, sorry. Um, and then like more abstract as you get further away. So like if everything's realistic, like if everything's highly detailed, your eye's not going to know where to go, right? So like your eyes are directed towards the bunny's face, just because that's where most of the detail is. So like if I go up and I make every single piece of this picture highly detailed, which some people do when they do like hyperrealism. Don't get me wrong, hyperrealism is beautiful work. Like people like such talent, right? Such ability. Um, but the drawback to a hyperrealistic picture is it's basically a photo, right? But it doesn't have all the things that make a photo work. So like with photos, you have like apertures where like the background's like blurred out and the face is like um, um, not like is in focus and stuff like that. Um, that's so that your eyes kind of have something to focus on. If you do like a hyper realistic picture where every single piece of fluff is accounted for, um, your eye's not going to know what to do. So I like this balance here, where there's plenty of stuff for the eye to like pick up, but also you are kind of directed towards the face and stuff. Um, but very colorful picture. I like it. Looks like an Easter egg. Like if this was an Easter egg and you put like a little poof on the front and gave it eyes, done. I like it. Um, let's see. Kind of want to get a little bit loose with like kind of like a little line back here, kind of defining the body shape. There you go. Cool. All right. I'm pretty happy with this bunny. Hopefully you guys are too. Um, I think that's it. I think I'm done with this guy. Girl, sorry. My bad. Oh, you know what I forgot to talk about? Like a movie I recently watched. I finally got around to watching Wonka, the new Willy Wonka movie that came out in the last year or two. That's pretty good. Like I don't know if you guys have seen that or not, but it's definitely worth watching. I was a I was a little nervous going into it because I was such a fan of the original uh, with the Gene Wilder that I thought I wasn't going to like it, but it actually was pretty good, and I'm very happy with it. Get a little bit of reflection going up in here. Little details, like you keep coming back to them and stuff, and I'm pretty happy with that. All right, I'm going to stop before I screw it up. Um, there was a fish on the TV. Moose enjoyed seeing them. I was thinking about getting an aquarium just so that my dogs have something to watch. So that's interesting to me. Um, anyway, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Friday before Easter. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. And I don't know if you guys celebrate Easter. If not, then just hopefully you guys have a great spring day. I don't do much for Easter myself, but I will probably get out and at least enjoy the nature this weekend. Which is kind of like celebrating Easter because it's all about spring and stuff. I don't know. Anyway, appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Hopefully you enjoyed this Easter bunny. I will post this up on the community tab tomorrow. And anyway, happy Easter. Exactly. Thanks, Lorraine. Hopefully you guys have a great Easter. But anyway, appreciate it. I will see you guys hopefully Tuesday. I know I keep saying Tuesday and then end up moving it back, but I'm gonna really try hard to make it this Tuesday. Hey, we got Sophia in the room. Cool. Yeah, sorry, I'm hopping off, but you can go back and watch it from the beginning if you want. But anyway, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this bunny. Next week I'm going to do that Kurt Russell thing so that we can send a lot of traffic to my friend's podcast just to show them what the Jeremy bump is all about. Basically 5 people. But also I'm going to be doing War Horse's Pet Memorial. I think maybe in pyrography, but I may do that off camera. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I will see you guys on Tuesday. Have a good one. Bye. Thanks.